Maddy, you've been to sign off the tournament, but what are going to be the main takeaways for the team from this tournament?
Yeah, I think really pleasing to walk away with a good win here today, but obviously really disappointed that we're not progressing to Antigua for the semi-finals. I think for us it's just about winning critical moments in each game, and I think both against India and Australia we got ourselves in positions to actually win the game. It's just then winning those critical moments, and I think that's what Australia and India did better than us in those first two games. So it's just going back home. Our girls have got domestic cricket. It's about playing a lot of cricket. And just practicing winning those sort of critical moments and playing under pressure.
So the two tournaments now where New Zealand perhaps haven't done as well as they would have liked. What are the players? What is players' mindset like? What's the confidence like?
Yeah, obviously hugely disappointing. We don't come here to get knocked out before the finals. So as I said, disappointing. But we know we're a good side, and it's just refining. As I said, being able to win those critical moments, I think we got ourselves into a really good position against Australia to win that game, and it's just, losing wickets and clumps doesn't help us. So it's, as I said, going back to our domestic cricket. We'll have a review after this tour, I'm sure, and sort of assessing what we need to do to be more competitive in those sort of key moments in each game.
And what do these disappointing performances do for recovery?
Look, we've got some very, very talented cricketers in our side, and I think Sophie showed that tonight, and Susie's shown that throughout the whole tournament. So for us, it's how do we put it all together? It can't just be one player standing up every game, but we know we've got absolute match winners on our side, and it's just the rest of the team need to get right in behind those key players and support them, and that'll help us win key games for us.
You had some variations in the opening combination. Sophie and Susie have been very successful, but over the last month or so, you tried out new combination. Then you seem to go back to Sophie and Susie. Talk us through the decision-making process.
I think probably in Australia, in our series there, Sophie and Susie opened the batting together, and we thought we potentially need to lengthen our batting order a little bit. And Anna Peterson's been batting really well at domestic cricket, opening the batting, and she's a really aggressive style of player, so I think that sort of choice was, let's give her a crack, sort of free licence, go out there, see if she can score quickly. And unfortunately that didn't come off for her in those first two games, and she was coming up against some really top quality opposition. So I think going back to Sophie and Susie, it's just an opportunity for those two to bat for as long as they can. I don't necessarily think it was the wrong decision to split those two up against Australia and India. It just didn't quite work out on the day.
But in terms of the vision that you probably might have had a year back coming into this T20, were Sophie and Susie the pair that you would have wanted, and then was a change so close to the tournament something that's upset the rhythm of the team?
No, I don't think so. We actually, when we played in England during the middle of the year, we sort of had Sophie and Susie split up. I know that was one-day cricket, but it's something we've sort of talked about. They're obviously two of our key batters. And if we can get them batting for a longer period of time throughout the course of the game, that's going to help us win games. But obviously, they're a formidable partnership. I think it's now 950 partnerships in a row, or not in a row, sorry, but over T20 cricket. So I think it's probably going to be one thing we go away from during this tournament and say, what is our best opening pair? Do we need to split them up, or should we be having them batting together all the time?
Do you think that momentum coming into the tournament was a key factor in New Zealand's performance?
No, I don't think so. Look, we came up against two really great sides, and historically we've played really well against Australia at World Cups. And just on the day we just didn't perform, and as I said, we just didn't win those critical moments. But I think we just got to go away and think about how we're going to keep beating these top teams and keep putting pressure on them. And as I said, it's just got to be whole team performances, I think, stepping up as a unit to beat these top quality sides.
And looking forward, now the tournament is finished for New Zealand, what are some of the positives that you could take back from the tournament, and some of the players that you were pleased with their performances?
Look, I think Susie Bates has been outstanding again with the bat, and Sophie Devine again showed what she can do with the bat. She's very destructive, so that's really positive for us. I think Katie Martin as well in particular. She's really stepped up in that middle order, and she's played some really great cameos. And then I think further our spinners have bowled really well generally. I think we've talked about in these conditions, potentially we got our lengths wrong earlier against India, but I thought we actually, in terms of bowling, pulled that back after that first game and bowled pretty well. So, you know, there's definitely going to be some positives we take away, but we need to go back home and, as I said, figure out how we're going to keep trying to beat these top teams.
There was a really nice gesture out in the end where you guys had a guard of honor. Can you talk about the sense of respect that is there in the women's circuit between teams?
Yeah, I think especially not always being professional teams, we really respect all the effort and the time that goes in and the sacrifice that goes in for all these women that are playing cricket around the world, not just in our own country, but you know, we played a recent series against the Irish and we see how hard they train and what they give to the sport. So you know, I think it's just right that we did that, and you know, I wish them all the best for the future.
Your thoughts on the tournament as a whole, as well as the leg that was hosted in Guyana?
Yeah, I think it's been fantastic in Guyana. We've seen some really quality wickets and some high-scoring games. Probably not as close, I don't think, in the pool games as yet, but I know that the semi-finals are going to be really tight, so I'm looking forward to watching what happens in that. But no, it's been fantastic, and it's been great to be over here in Guyana and play here. Our girls haven't come here before, so it's been great to be over here.
And looking at the tournament, who do you see as a favourite to win it?
I would have said Australia, but I think India have really shown what a powerful team they are. They've got some absolutely fantastic players. So, look, I think it's going to be really interesting next few games and see who comes out on top. But yeah, I mean, it really could be anyone's. It just takes one performance from one or two key players, and I think we saw that for India. They've had a couple of key players really step up and win them games. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the next few games. And
in your opinion, what is one of the things that you would like to see happen for international women's cricket? Oh, look, I think the more teams that can be involved in the IWC is fantastic for growing the game, and I think we've seen some of the smaller nations, sort of nations that haven't really competed as much in the last sort of decade, really now competing and beating top teams, which is fantastic. So, you know, I think the more teams that we can get in the IWC, the better the women's game is going to get in the quality of teams. And I think, you know, the more women's teams that are professional as well is only going to lift the standard. And I think we've seen that come through from Australia and England, and they've really led the way. And the way that they're playing their cricket alongside India is fantastic now. So the more girls that are on contracts, being full-time, training full-time, it's only going to take the women's game to another level.
Two questions. One, I'm not sure you could answer them. I hope you try. Your captain, Amy Satterthwaite, major disappointment with the bat. And your leg spinner, the sensation, Amelia.
I think Amelia has actually bowled pretty well. Got a couple of wickets today for not many.
Yes, but in the previous games when he came on, at the time you were looking for her to really come and do some real magic.
Yeah, Amelia is 18. She's a fantastic player and an incredible talent, and I think we're not yet to see the best of her. And she's, for her age, done very well for New Zealand over the last couple of years. I think generally she's actually bowled pretty well, bowled well against Pakistan and today as well. You know, and she's got a full bag of tricks, and as I said, I think she's only going to get better. I know Amy's probably feeling a little bit disappointed in potentially how her tournament's gone, but she's a class player, and you know, she's won ICC awards for being Women's Batter of the Year, so you don't get those sort of awards by not being a classy player. And as they say, form is temporary, but class is permanent, so I'm sure that she'll bounce back.
We know she has the world record for consecutive 150 overs, but you think the captaincy has been a problem that affected her batting? I
don't think so. Look, as I said, batters go through slumps of form, and Amy, yeah, admittedly she hasn't had a great 4 games, but it's just been 4 games, and she's an absolutely fantastic player and a key part of our batting lineup.
Right, what are wishing your team the best in the future?
Thank you very much.
Maybe a quick one from me. All Blacks lost to Ireland. Was that tonight about the stories of personal pride?
Yeah, it was nice to get one back up over the Irish. Disappointing for the boys in Ireland, but yeah, nice to go 1-1.
Yeah. And Susie Bates, first woman to 3,000 T20 runs. Susie Bates, first woman to
3,000 T20 runs, massive achievement. My comment on Susie?
Yeah, Susie's absolutely brilliant, and she's a fantastic member of our side, and she's great with all the players. She's incredibly humble, and she's an incredibly talented player, and you know, we've seen Susie perform for our side for a long period of time, so hopefully there's a bit more to come.
Thank you.